So as you can see, we successfully written our first views in our Django application. And what we need to do now, so basically whenever we are starting our service, there is a pop-up is coming into the red line, and the message is like you have to migrate it, some migration is not have been done. Okay, so what are the migrations are those tables which are not even included yet. Okay, so basically you have to include your tables first. So let me run this particular server, and this is running. Okay, and after complete, after we have to look at this particular message first. Okay, so this is our first view that we are seeing here, and we have to, so right now as you can see, these are the messages that are coming right now. Okay, so we have to migrate it first. So in order to migrate it, we have to run just only one simple command. Okay, so first I will gonna break this server. Okay, and let me type this particular command. Okay, so python manage.py migrate. After running this migrate command, you will gonna see there whatever the whatever the tables are available, it will gonna include all of those table into this migration file. Okay, so it is like whenever you are creating a model, whenever you are creating login function, it will gonna easily take to that particular thing, and it will import whatever the tables are available, import whatever the tables are available. So right now as you can see, these are the models, okay, that we are going to build. So what are the models? Like models are like you are building some kind of logic, you are building some kind of things like building authentication form, authentication model, like you are putting some questions model where a student are asking for the things, and you are providing like name, email address, you are giving voting, you are voting for their performance. So these are the things that you can done. I mean, models are just like functionalities of the whole website. Okay, so what we're gonna do, we are going to create a model, and which is basically I'm gonna create a model that is like asking for the question. Okay, so questions models dot model. Okay, so this is the thing that we have to write first. Okay, and then we have to take some arguments, some of the things, some of the data. So let's say if you want to take the question text, then you have to type question text, and then you have to set this model like you wanted to set it to an integer field, character field. So for the text we always look for the character field because this is the character field. Okay, and you have to specify some length. So right now I'm specifying maximum length is around 200. Okay, so maximum length will going to be 200, and these all the things are taken from the official documentation, as I already told you. Okay, so these are the things are so after that you have to define the models for the publication date. Okay, so for the publication date is what? Date is a kind of a date field. Okay, so you have to come up with a date. Okay, so date time field, so you have to search for the date time field and give the give whatever the string you want to pass. Okay, so after it I'll gonna say like date published. Okay, so whenever our question is published, you have to define it. Okay, so date published, and that's it. So let me save it. Okay, and then after that I have to define other things like I'll gonna take a model with the choice. Okay, so choice, and give the same things like models dot model. Okay, and after that we are going to define a delete function. Okay, so let's say if you don't if you want that your question must be like you want to change, you want to, sorry, not delete function, this at this particular point you are allowing your question a key value, that is a foreign key. Okay, and foreign key will allow you to give your model some kind of id which is a random id like 1 2 3 4 5 6, whatever the id is. I mean, it will gonna implement it automatically, so you don't need to define it again and again. Okay, so after that, like this is the foreign key, like whatever the foreign key you are including, and after the foreign key you have you can define like where you wanted to include your foreign key. Okay, so in this like foreign key into the question. Okay, so question must be like id1, question id2, id3. So you have put like around 100 questions. So question must have some id. Okay, so foreign key will allow you to create those kind of things. Okay, and there is a on delete function. If you don't want this particular question, okay, so you can run this particular function on delete dot models. Okay, on delete is equal to model dot cascade. Okay, so this will allow you to delete whatever the questions you are having. Okay, question you are having, sorry, not questions. After that you can have some other models. So basically, let's say choice text. Okay, so in this choice text you are just defining the maximum value, maximum length of your character field. Okay, so whatever the and after that, at the end of the model, you are going to integrate integer field for the voting, because vote must be like 1 2 3 and whatever the I'm just integrating integer field, and that's it, and I'm giving it to the default value is equal to 0. Okay, so that's how you can actually create your models. Okay, so as you can see that we successfully created our model, but we cannot use it. Yes, why we don't able to use it yet? Because we have to register it first, and in order to register it, we have to go to the settings and see our installed app. Okay, in our installed app we have to specify our application. So basically our application name is polls.apps polls configuration. You have to type these keywords in order to define your application. Okay, so polls configuration, which means you have to configure this polls application, polls dot application. You have to configure this particular thing in order to use our models. Okay, so after this we successfully imported our model, and now what we will gonna do? So basically, so after the registration of our model, what we need to do, we have to go to the server, and we have to type some command. Okay, in order to make it work. So first thing that I wanted to do, first thing, you have, if you are having a running server, you have to break your server. Okay, and right now I'm running this. Okay, and I have to migrate it first. So I will gonna stop this server first. Okay, and let me run this particular uh, code. Okay, python manage.py make migration. I mean, whatever the models I have created, you just have to make it, and you have to put it inside this particular folder. Okay, so you will gonna see there will be a file will gonna come like in a 000 form. After I'll gonna make my run this command like make migration, like whatever the migration I have made, you have to put it inside it, and you have to ensure that it will gonna get inside it. And whenever like it will not gonna include all of those tables inside our migration first, like it will gonna just create a kind of a copy of this migration. Okay, so now we successfully created our models file, like migration file. Okay, so these are the models. Okay, and it is just like as a copy. Okay, so in order to make it work, in order to you if you are having some kind of tables, you have to push it first. Okay, so what I'll gonna do, like I'm saying that okay, you are having this particular migrated models. Okay, and what you need to do now, you just need to put all of these things into our main database. Okay, so let's say if I run for things like python manage.py migrate, it will gonna push all the data to the main database, and after that we will able to use it. Okay, so as you can see, I just hit enter, and it will gonna do all the changes, and we successfully created our a model. Okay, we have successfully migrated our model. Now we can use our model. Okay, now we can do whatever the changes we wanted to do, whatever the things we have done. We can do some queries, we can make queries about the questions, we can do random things, certain things. So in order to test our model, I'll gonna call our python shell. Okay, and in order to call your python shell, you have to be into this particular directory where manage.py exists. Okay, so let's call our python shell, and in order to call our python shell, you have to type this particular command, python manage.py shell, and it will gonna give you a python shell. And within that particular python shell, you can easily write some queries, you can do some queries, whatever the whatever you can do with your models, like extracting the questions, deleting the questions, getting the date of the questions, year of the questions, whatever you have just defined with your model, you can easily query all of those things. So it is a best way to text your models, and it is also a best way when you are having a very good command line skills. Suppose you are very good in python, then definitely you can go for the python shell as well. Okay, so I'm gonna import this particular model first. So from post.model from post.models import, after running this query, import what I wanted to import. Actually I wanted to import questions and choice. So you have to, I'm importing all of these things, but how I'm importing, what I'm gonna import, what things I wanted to import. Actually I wanted to import my models, I wanted to import my questions, and that's how it is. Okay, that's why I'm created this, that's how I will gonna query my things. Okay, whatever the things that I have created in this particular model. So you have to type the questions and choices. Okay, I'm importing these two things. Okay, right now. Okay, now I have successfully imported this particular thing, and now as you can see, what I will gonna do, I'll gonna take all the questions that are available in this query. So object dot question dot object dot models, then I can set like query set is empty, like we having nothing in this particular model. So what will you understand, that it is saying that you don't have any questions right now, you don't have anything right now. That's why query set is giving on only empty things, on empty models. Okay, so what you wanted to do, first thing, let's say instead of expecting the questions, let's import the time zone. Okay, so in order to import your time zone, what we're gonna do, basically I wanted to import time zone, and I have to run the time zone in the way I imported our questions model. So from Django dot utils import time zone. Okay, so once you import the time zone, like import, and then we have to type time zone. Okay, once you import the time zone, you can say the what you can define your questions and whatever the things you are having. Okay, so I think I did something wrong. Okay, I have to import it, like I have done any syntax error. Let me see. Let me see what I have done. Okay, I think yeah, our time zone is imported perfectly. Okay, so yeah, that's it. Now we have to we have to store a question in our queue. Okay, so queue is equal to questions. Okay, and inside the question, what will gonna be the text of this question. So question text I'm going to define first. Okay, so question text, let me copy this and paste it, and is equal to question text, whatever the question text I wanted to have. Okay, so this is the question text that I'm typing. Okay, and after that I have to set some publication date. I have to set publication date, like time zone dot now. Okay, let's say you wanted to have some years. Let me delete this particular line. I have after the publication date, you have to define what the publication day, what kind of publication date you want. So you want for now, so I will gonna say like time zone dot now, which means you have to give me the time zone of right now. Okay, so yeah, after it you have to save your question, whatever this question you have just defined, you have to save it. And if you want to extract it with the id, you can extract it. So id will going to be the first id. Okay, we have created our first question. Now you can see that this we are getting our first id, and what text we are having. So whatever the text we just imported here, we will gonna get the text. Okay, question dot text. Okay, question underscore text, and the publication date, what will going to the publication date. So q dot publication date. So this is how the Django giving our publication date. So that's how you can get the publication date. Okay, And after getting the publication there, you may be thinking that what the heck is it, and what kind of things I'm getting, what are these random things. Let's not worry about it. Finally you are getting your publication date, and that's it. And we will gonna fix it. We'll gonna figure out how you can read it. Like it will gonna give you 20 to whatever the publication date it is giving you, you can easily write. Okay, so after that, what you will gonna do? Basically, I wanted to give the question text, different question text. And if I will save it, like I wanted to include another question. Okay, and if I will save, like let's say I have two questions right now I have successfully saved it. Okay, and whenever now I'm running this particular query set, what we are getting? Question object 1. We are getting object 1. What does it mean by object 1? I mean, it is not human readable. How we can say that we can able to handle it? So like there's a problem, like this is the biggest problem. So we have to I'm introducing you a string function, a string which will allow you to make it readable for the human. Okay, so you have to define the string function. Okay, in order to define a string function will return you the exact same question that you are having, not in the form of query set, not in the form of id or anything like that. Okay, so just define it, you define your string function just like this way, and return sales dot question underscore whatever the whatever the things you are wanted to return from your model. You can return many more things, but you can return your name, your address, your id, your whatever the things you are having. Okay, so this string function will allow you to return your character like a string to the to the shell, to the return to the user. Okay, that's how you cannot find your things if it is in the form of id, or it is in the form of anything like that without a string. Okay, so human you have to make it human readable first. Okay, so after including all of these things, what you need to do? Basically, I wanted to define another thing which is in our model, and that is time zone. Okay, date times. Okay, so in order to do that, I'll gonna import some of the things. Okay, so let's say I wanted to define a publication was published recently. Suppose your question was published at some time, so let's define a function right here. Okay, so let's say was published recently. This is the function that I wanted to define right here. Okay, and in order to define it, what you're gonna do, you are just going to give the name just like the question or choice. Okay, so was published recently is going to be the function, and it will gonna take the same argument and same thing, that is self. Okay, and for this self, okay, like a string function. Okay, what will it will gonna return? Actually, it will gonna return your publication date. Okay, so self dot publication date. Okay, and after the publication date, you have it will gonna you have to define your time zone. So let's say time zone dot now. Okay, time zone dot now, which means you want to have time zone of right now. Okay, and the reason we are doing it, we want to give our time we want to define our time in such a way that it will become a human readable. Okay, so I will gonna delete like I will gonna say like minus date time dot delta days. Okay, date time dot delta days. So you have to define it in this way. Okay, and after importing it, let's say if you are importing date time. Okay, so here you can see that date time, in order to use your date time function, you have to import it first. Okay, so I'll gonna say like import date time. Okay, so import date time. Okay, because we wanted to use our date time. Okay, and let's say from Django dot utils import time zone, and I also wanted to import our time zone. Okay, in order to use our time zone. Okay, so that's how you can easily do it. And as you can see that we successfully imported all of these things. And let's say minus date time dot date time. Okay, dot time delta, and days will going to be the like a is equal to 1. Okay, So I will gonna define the days is equal to 1, and that's it. So we successfully, so now we can import our models and make it work. Okay, so whatever the models we, whatever the changes we have done in our model, we are going to test it. Okay, and in order to test it, just go to the cell and do some, query. So let me import it first. So from post dot models, import the same thing, which is choice question. Okay, so whatever the models you are having, you just have to type the name of the model, whatever the models you are wanted to import in this particular thing. If you are having 8 to 10 models, then you can easily import all of those things into this one single command, just typing comma after your model. Okay, so that's how you can import it, and hit enter. And let me say, like, we already define our string function. So let's say question dot object dot all, and it will gonna return not any id, it will gonna return the same exact value that we are having right now. So as you can see, this is coming because of the string function that we have already defined in our model. Okay, so a string function will allow you to get your things in a human readable form. Okay, so that's how it is. So if you are defining your string function, then it will definitely gonna work, and it will gonna make your things as a human readable. I have to, I how I closed it. Okay, so yeah, that's how it is. Okay, so let me run my things again. Okay, sorry about it, I have to run it again. Okay, so let me go to my site. Sorry about that. And we have to run our python shell again. So let me type this particular command again, and python manage.py shell, and let me import it. Basically it is, yeah, now we are having our shell. Okay, and I'll gonna import this particular thing. Okay, so now we are having this. Okay, so after that, what we're gonna do, basically, as you can see that we are getting all of these things in terms of we were getting all of these things in terms of id, and id and whatever. So we are not going to get integer or any kind of id. Whenever we will query, we're gonna get in terms of a string, in terms of human readable form. Okay, and that's what exactly we want, that's what exactly every user is looking for. I mean, you cannot tell the user that the David is belong to the 10th id, and 10th id, who is David? Like 10th id, what is 10th means David. I mean, a computer can understand, but how human can understand? So string function will allow you to do this. Okay, so let's test our time zone function. Okay, so in order to import it, you have to run the same command from django.utils import time zone. Okay, and after importing the time zone, you can set the current year. Okay, current year is equal to, like, whatever the whatever the year is running, like this is 2021. Okay, so I have to give this particular command, and I have to set it to the time zone right now. Okay, so in order to do that, just give this particular command. Okay, so what is the current year? You have to give to the string form. Okay, so let's say current year is equal to, let's say current year is equal to time zone dot now dot year. Okay, so after setting it into this particular thing, you have to set your question. Let's say question dot objects dot get publication date year. Okay, inside this particular thing, you have to give the publication date year, and you have to set your publication date year to the current year. Okay, so after setting these things in this way, you can see that your question is like whatever the question you have given, it will gonna come like this. Okay, so this is the question that you already given, and it is coming like this way. Okay, so if we talk about the like we already set all of these things in our first id. Okay, our computer is understanding that this is the first id. Okay, and you can query all of these things by typing first and all of this. Okay, but what will happen if you target, if you target unknown id? Okay, so what will gonna happen if you target unknown id? So in order to when you target unknown id, I'm targeting id 2, it is giving me a trace back like does not exist. It is giving me the error that this particular query is not existing. How the hell you can ask me for this particular thing? So you don't have to ask this kind of question. If something doesn't exist, please use your mind and don't ask me for that. That's how a computer is telling you that this file doesn't exist, and I'm very confused and I'm freaked out, and you don't have to ask me for this. So that's how it is, like computer is responding to you. So if something is not existing, you don't have to ask for with the computer. So let's move on to the further. Okay, so let's query this particular thing, whether the primary key exists or not, whether we have already given this whether we already published this particular thing or not. So you have to type this particular syntax in order to get the answer. Okay, so let's say question dot object whatever the get primary key, and it is true that we already published this particular question, and it is saying yeah, definitely it is true, and you already having all of these things in your database. I mean, yeah, so that's how it is. So after it we have to go for the query some of the other things. Let's say after this we have to query, like we have to check our primary key, whether like we already tested our primary key. We have to create some some of the choice. Okay, so I'm creating this particular choice where I'm having this particular string, and I have to create one more, and let's say create 3 of them. Okay, and let's say q is equal to choice as q dot choice dot set. Okay, q dot choice, and the third one is going to be like c dot choice dot set create. Okay, and after creating it, like c dot choice dot set create choice text, and with a different like just hacking again kind of a string we are passing. Okay, so after doing it, you have to give certain query like c dot question. Okay, and check like what is giving, like c dot questions is having a very different whatever the query you have created, you have given. Okay, so c dot question will gonna have certain things, certain number of things. So let's say after it, let's say c dot question is giving this particular string right now. Okay, and after that I wanted to query all of those things, all of these things, all of these choices that we already make. Okay, so let's say q dot choice underscore set dot all. Okay, so once you run this particular command, you're gonna see all of these things are coming line by line. We have created 3 different questions, and we are getting all of these things in just one go. So how you can do like how you can do all of these things, like by running this particular set dot all command. Okay, so let's say like you are having bunch of questions with you, and if you want to count, then you have to run this particular command q dot choice dot set count, and just run this particular command, and it will gonna give you the exact number of questions that you are having. So it is giving me this particular number right now. Okay, so after that you can do some of other things with your python shell. Let's say choice dot object dot filter, if you wanted to filter the publication date years, and if you wanted to set your publication date year with the current year, you can easily do that just by typing this command. So let me show you how you can do it. Okay, so let's say choice choice, I think choice objects dot all. Okay, so this is the thing. Okay, so after giving this, you can see that this you are getting all of these things, and let's say if you wanted to delete this, you can type this c dot delete command. Okay, and after that you can successfully delete this particular thing. Okay, so that's how you can easily do all of these things. And yeah, that's it for today. And hopefully I think I have to look at other certain things. So let me, I think, create you know why I'm getting this error, because I'm typing something wrong. Okay, so